Hey Internet, Eric here. Back with a movie review this time. It's not a You Hate It, I Don't. It's an actual movie review. And it's another blind movie review. I had never seen this film before until today. Didn't really know much about it. The film I thought I was going to watch was actually the sequel. Because I remembered the cover to the sequel, thinking that this was the one I was going to watch. I was thinking, due to the picture that I remember and the cast, I thought I was going to watch Witchboard 2, not knowing that I'm actually watching and reviewing Witchboard, the original. Now, this came out in '86, and it stars the gorgeous, at least back then, Tawny Kitaen from Whitesnake video fame, and sadly, eventually, Surreal Life and mugshot infamy. But I knew this was, a cult classic in the genre of horror, so I had to be the horror buff, or not horror buff, but horror film lover, give it a shot. And never saw this before, didn't even know anything about Wikipedia other than the fact that there was an Ouija board involved, and I really, really enjoyed this film. It was, I don't know if it was because my expectations were so low, but I came out having a great time with this. Now, if you're new to my channel, or if you know my channel, there will be some spoilers in here involved, but again, it's a horror movie starring Tawny Kitaen from 1986. So if you're really, really worried about spoilers, I'm sorry. Now, the basic plot of Witchboard is it starts off, and Tawny Kitaen plays Linda, and Linda is having a big party at her house. And at her house is her current boyfriend, Jim, played by some schlub, and her ex-boyfriend is named Brandon, played by some schlub who I guess I read on Wikipedia he did some soap opera stuff. It starts off, of course, there's tension because you got the two men there, and you find out Brandon is interested in the occult when it comes to Ouija boards, and he has used it many times. He's talked to a young boy spirit named I don't know. I'll put his name down in subtitles. We talked to this young boy who is 10 years old, and he's been dead for like 20 years or something like that. What have you. And they end up deciding to bring out the Ouija board and speak to this young boy. And they do. And of course, Jim, being the current boyfriend, already hates the ex-boyfriend, is given, the whole seance thing, a hard time. And of course, it pisses off the ghost. The Ouija board, flips itself off of the lap of Linda and Brandon. And then eventually, things happen. You have murders happening. One of Jim's buddies, his co-workers at a construction site is brutally killed. It made it seem like an accident. And eventually, they get a seance going. Linda and Jim and Brandon and a spiritual medium named Elizabeth or something like I said, put the name in the subtitles. And she's like this typical 80s, like she looks like an 80s punker, with the short buzz cut hair and the overabundance of makeup. And she's got the jackets with with the laces on them, the strings on them. And you see her talking to this, the spirit of the young boy is talking through her. And the spirit says, obviously we're going to go away and I'll leave you be. Well, of course, later on, the medium is murdered. And eventually, Jim and Brandon have to work together to stop, whatever the spirit is that is also harassing Linda and them, and just put an end to it. And there's a side story of a police investigator who's obviously investigating the murders. And the end. Alright. Not much to this plot, obviously. Stereotypical 80s, ghost possession movie. possession movie, because there's a couple possessions in here. And like I said, I think because my expectations were so low, that's why I had a good time watching this. First off, I like the acting for what it was in this piece of shit, quote unquote, 80s stereotypical film, from the horror genre at this time. I thought, who of all people thought Tawny Kitaen could do a decent job in a horror film? I mean, this woman was mainly known, her notoriety is either her infamy with being arrested for DUIs and abuse, or getting, drunk on the Surreal Life. Or her, basically she's also in all those Whitesnake videos because she was married to David Coverdale. I honestly didn't know she was an actress. I went on Wikipedia and I saw she has a good range of, appearances in movies and TV and stuff. And she's very likable here. I mean, she's not, fantastic. She's very likable, very sweet. She has a good chemistry with her boyfriend, Jim, that's a main thing for me when it comes to movies. I like, when we're dealing with couples, I like chemistry. Because I brought up before, with my friends, like Terminator Genesis, and you got Sarah Connor, and you got Kyle Reese. And in Terminator Genesis, they had no fucking chemistry. How are you going to make, fall in love and have a baby and be, give birth to John Connor when you have no fucking chemistry? You gotta have chemistry when you have leads in movies, plain and simple, if they're love interests. And if they don't, it just takes me out. But I thought the chemistry between Linda and Jim were great. I liked how Brandon, now he's the ex-boyfriend, I liked how he was a mean fucking asshole. He was a dick, and I wanted to choke him out and punch him and step on his neck the first time I was introduced to him, because he was a piece of shit. He would be taking pokes at Jim and calling him names, and he also had this I'm better than you vibe going through him. But after, these accidents or these murders happen, he changes. And he does a 180, and he still cares about Linda, and he wants to stop these things from happening. And when he has to team up with Jim, he's very likable. And the way that Jim and he finally, they work together, you find out they were ex-best friends. They work together, and they have a good rapport with each other. And I like it because Brandon goes from this piece of shit to this likable guy because he's trying to save his love, and he's doing his damnedest, and he's very believable. And I also like how this actor, you can tell he really believes in this occult stuff, and it's just really, really well done. The actor who plays Jim, basically he's there for comic relief in the beginning, and again, that's what gets you to like him, and then you care for him, and you want him and Brandon to help save Linda. What else? The score in this film is fantastic. Very good with building the tension. Very creepy. The budget shows, though. The budget shows its lack of budget. Let's see, because some of the when the medium is killed, it's very, very bad. I mean, you see some gushes of blood, and then like the editing job, she gets thrown through a window, but it goes from a throat slash to a throw through the window, and then she gets impaled on something. The impaling looks good, but the throat slash is really bad. And then when Jim is finally taking out the Ouija board, very, very bad green screen. But again, it's low budget 1986, so I expected that. Doesn't really take away from the film at all. There's a scene, like the climax of the film is when Jim and Linda are having, their conflict, and Linda is possessed by this spirit. Now, I'm not going to, and you find out that this really isn't the spirit of this young boy, it's a spirit of a serial killer from the past. And when Linda is possessed by him, and it's really cool because Tawny Kitaen goes from this very likable person to this very menacing person, and I love how they tweak her voice in the audio. The audio is done really well, making her seem like demonic. and it's really good. My only downside was the whole police detective character, and he was unnecessary. He was there honestly for maybe a total of 5 minutes. You know, he shows up checking on Jim a lot, and then again he shows up at the end of the climax. He gets hurt, and he's done with. So he's basically a waste of character and time. But I think they maybe needed, because this movie is an hour and 38 minutes. I think they needed an extra 8 minutes, so they threw in this character, and it's totally unnecessary. Another character I really enjoyed, and I wish he was in it more. So this was kind of a disappointment. Was Jim's buddy? I don't know if he's Native American or if he's Asian or whatever, but he's the work partner that gets killed in the accident. He's there for comic relief. He's very, very funny, but literally he's in the movie for 5 minutes and then he's taken out. And I just, I knew he was gonna die right away because he's the best friend. He's the funny guy, but I truly wish he was in this film more, because I would have really enjoyed seeing a lot more of him, because he made me laugh. Very likely. He reminded me of just one of my buddies. There for a smart ass quip, and that's it. Like I said, I do have another problem with the actress who played the medium. And she's a character actress. I'll put her name down in the subtitles, and she's mainly known either A, for a recurring character on ER, or B, actually the voice of the Disney cartoon series Pepper Ann. Go figure. She's either very, very funny or very annoying. There is no middle ground. There's parts where I was really, really laughing, and then the meter went down to, God, just get off the fucking screen. So there's that to it. But I don't know what it was. The vibe of this film really got me, and I was having a blast. I enjoyed this. It's cheese. It's good, cheesy 80s horror. And it's not like crap cheese. It's good cheese. It's melts in your mouth cheddar cheese. It's really fun and it's engaging. Likable characters. God. This makes me interested in seeing the sequels. I know the sequels have nothing to do with Witchboard, even though there's like Witchboard 2 and 3. But I've had so much fun watching Witchboard that I want to see the other sequels. Especially Witchboard 2, because that's what I thought I was watching with Amy Dolan's. But instead I got Witchboard 1, which had nothing to do with it, but I did get Tawny Kitaen. I've had a crush on Tawny Kitaen since, Whitesnake videos. And not current Tawny Kitaen where she looks like a man beast. But yeah, here's a side note for all you perverts. You want to see Tawny Kitaen naked, like fully naked, Witchboard's the way to go. I mean, damn. But in all honesty, like I said, this was just fun. I didn't think I was going to have a lot of fun with this. I liked the scenes where Jim and Brandon were investigating possibly the little boy becoming the murderer. And I loved the scene where they went to the little boy's place where he was killed. They were talking to him, and you can tell that this Brandon character really cared for this, young boy's spirit, and the way he talked to him. And that was a good, intense scene where they're talking to him through the Ouija board, trying to figure out if he's behind all this. And it's done well. It's done fun. It's great, and it's very intense. And again, I can't praise the score. Excuse me, god damn. Anymore. Because this was a good, intense score. I loved it. I don't know who did it. Again, subtitles. Because I don't have the box in front of me. I got this, fucking blind from Netflix. And this was a great, great Netflix find. Yeah. I don't know what else to say. Because, like I said, it's a stereotypical, pretty simple plot for, a movie like this. But who the fuck thought Tawny Kitaen would be likable in a film? Not me. I thought she's just there to be sexy, and you know what? She turned into a likable character. And like I said, I cannot praise the actor who plays Brandon, going from this piece of shit asshole that you want to fucking shoot first time you meet him, and then you root for him at the end. So So yeah, in the end, Witchboard, fantastic? No. Fun? Absolutely. Give it a shot. I know it's a cult classic. It's hard to find. I guess it was released by Anchor Bay, which I knew right away that it was either going to be really fun or really bad. And then it was discontinued, but I think Scream Factory re-released it. And Scream Factory is really good at re-releasing stuff, so give it a look out. And if all else fails, you fucking stream it online. I think you'll have a blast. Get yourself some beer, get yourself some fucking chips or whatever, and have fun for 90 minutes, because I know I did. Yeah. So in closing, thank you for watching. Thank you for, if you're a current subscriber and you're returning to this video, thank you for your support. If you're a new watcher, welcome. Please check out my other videos. I've done reviews on Gremlins, a really shitty Dolph Lundgren movie called Command Performance. I support videos. I have a gimmick called You Hate It, I Don't, where I recently talked about Rocky 5. It's a gimmick where I feel like I'm the only person who enjoys a film, and I try to defend it. I've done Rocky 5, Jason Goes to Hell, The Final Friday, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2, and there's going to be more coming. Be prepared for Uwe Boll and Howard the Duck. So, in the end, cheers, and Tawny Kitaen, circa 1986. That's all I got to say.